Say Genesis, Melly Rose, Caitlin. Who else is on here? Welcome, welcome. I know we usually have a poll at the beginning of the class, but today we're going to do it a little bit different because last week we were talking about habits and routines, and I challenged you all to do some habits and routines. I actually downloaded an app. So it's called Habit Now. We were talking about habits and routines. This week, we're talking about accountability. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to track how well I actually do on the habits and routines that I told you all I was going to do. And I also took screenshots of what you all said you were going to do so we can have a little bit of accountability for each other today. Also, in just a minute, I'm going to introduce my friend Brenda. And she is a very successful, say, entrepreneur, investor, and basically is the executive director of this lending company that does a ton of business here. Like many, we have a lot of females in the class, and there's a lot of industries that tend to be male dominated. And I love to see more females kind of getting into industries that tend to be dominated by males. And she would have done it anyway, but I think it's fantastic to see. Welcome, Jose. More of you jumping in here. So number one, I'd like to ask, and I'm going to tell you first mine, right? My habit and routine that I wanted to work on was getting some exercise in the morning. So jump roping in the morning. I did that 6 out of the last 7 days. The other thing, and actually Brenda's going to talk a little bit about this too. I think a lot of you were talking about getting organized, right? How do you like set your agenda for the day? How do you make sure things are going to happen? And I did less well on that, to be honest. Some I did in the morning instead of the night before. So I was only about 3 out of 7 on that, and a couple more I did in the morning. I want to ask you all, drop in the chat, please, on a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you think you did this week on your habits routines? Actually, 0 to 10. Zero is like you didn't work on them at all, totally forgot. 10 was like I crushed everything, no cap. How well do you think you all did? Okay, because I'm going to say I did around, I think a 6. I could have done way better. Okay, we got lots of fives in here. 6, 7, some eights. Ooh, I like to see that. Brenda, how did you do? And actually, I'm going to take this opportunity. Okay, so it looks like fives, six, and sevens. I feel embarrassed that I brought Brenda on this day when I have to admit that I was only like a 6 or a 7 this week. But part of the reason I invited her also is the importance of the impact this makes on success. All successful people are have good habits, have routines, are consistent about doing things. And having known Brenda for a long time, okay, she said 6 or 7 also, so I don't feel as bad. But it doesn't have to be perfect every week. But to know how these habits, routines, and accountability impact successful people and how they do it, I think is important. And I think I didn't spend enough time talking about the importance of what impact this makes. So please welcome to the classroom. You give like a thumbs up, clappy, something. Please welcome Brenda Chen. I don't have everyone on mute, so you won't hear like an applause. But thank you for joining us, Brenda. What I
Thanks for
wanted to
having
ask
me.
you, yeah, thank you. So the first thing I wanted to ask is like, what are your habits and routines, and then how has that impacted, how you are successful or get to your goals?
Yeah, I love that everyone here, is getting started so early. Like I've kind of had to, do a bunch of trial and error to see what habits really were going to be more, sustainable for me and also going to help everything else in my life. And I found that there are a couple things. Number one, right now for me is meditation before I look at my phone. And so there are a lot of meditation apps out there. There's like Calm and a bunch of other ones, but I chose an app that really worked for me and I committed to 20 minutes before I look at my phone because I know that once I look at my phone, like my day it's going to be taken from me, like I have all this work I need to do and all these people messaging me. So I knew that if I wanted to be committed, I needed to do it before I look at my phone. So, I would, get some water, go to the bathroom, and then start meditating for 20 minutes. And so that's something I've been doing for over a year now. And what I
Every day?
actually, yeah, every single day. And
Have you done it every single day?
yeah, unless I'm, heading to the airport at like 6 a.m. and in that case I would do it in the car on the way to the airport. So I'm just very committed to this because I know how much it's changed my life. Like before, I was on and off, and I noticed as I was doing more of it that when I skipped a day, like that day just didn't go as well. Even though it's like 20 minutes, I thought, okay, like it wouldn't make that much of a difference. But it's made such a big difference on my day that I try to do it every single day in the morning because it really sets the tone of how the day is gonna go. So um yeah, that's been a really powerful um y- habit for me. And there's a lot of like research on this too, a lot of books on like how meditation or mindfulness really helps with memory, with productivity, efficiency, calmness, everything. So um that's why I picked that as like my main habit that I try to focus on. And then after that, I do go into my my kind of my health stuff. So I take my supplements, I drink my water, I take, my sometimes I take like elderberry for immunity, and then I will drink my cacao in the morning. So that's basically how I start my day. And then
Kind of like mind and body.
yeah, exactly. So I'm making sure I'm taking care of my health before I jump into work because for my work it's very intense and I can just go for hours and hours without, sometimes forgetting to eat even. So I just want to make sure I'm taking care of my health like before I start my work because I know it's going to get intense later on. So those are
Yeah.
like the main habits in the morning. And then what I like to do is also I like to write a list of everything I need to get done. And then there's a book on this too. It's called The Checklist Manifesto. I don't know if some of you have heard about it,
The
but
checklist manifesto. Okay, I'm gonna
yeah,
type this here
it's
too.
written by a medical doctor and about how even surgeons like need the checklist because it just helps people stay organized. Like even something as simple as like, oh, wash your hands every single time. Like it's just very important to just keep that on paper. And so I like to write down everything that's on my mind to kind of organize myself and then decide, game plan like how I'm going to do everything and what is the top priority for that day. And what's even better is to schedule that within the calendar. So what time am I going to do it? So for me, I made it a habit to look at my calendar. And I feel like as people get busier, there's so many apps vying for our attention these days. So I make it very important for me to check as few apps as possible. And so for me, the apps that I do check every day are going to be my text messages, my calendar, um, and so I try to keep everything on there. Um, and then, oh, also my email. And then, there I have my work email and my personal email. So I try to keep it at those. Um, but, like I said, there are so many other apps like WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, like all that stuff. But for the main priority ones, I make sure like I have my top priorities on my calendar because it's tied to a certain time. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, trying to
What if,
streamline the number of apps out there yeah, that I'm checking. Yeah.
yeah, well, I'm actually curious about this because I think the number one thing that we heard from students last week was managing kind of the agenda, calendar, all these competing priorities, schoolwork, friends. Kind of from a practical perspective, when you write down all these things you need to do you physically write them down? Do you put them in the notes? Do you directly schedule them into your calendar? Like, how do you actually manage it? Is it like a journal, or it sounds like at least the calendar's on your phone?
Yeah, so right now I'm keeping it more simple where, I think it's good to do it in the morning after I've done the mindfulness portion because my head is more clear and then I can write down everything and from there decide what to schedule within my calendar. And so if something is not as urgent, I might schedule it for, next week or whatever time I want to be reminded of it again. So it's just a way for me to keep track. And then I base it on the priorities and I think that's why the mindfulness piece is so important because I feel like right now in this age, like we're so bombarded with, social media, like it's too much stimulation in my opinion. So it's good to like when I wake up to have a clearer mind and then be able to make decisions like who do I want to be? Like do I want, I also fall in the trap of like looking at social media way too much. So like knowing that, like, what am I gonna work on that's actually gonna move my goals forward? And that's what I'm gonna schedule in because I also found that, like, when I don't schedule it into my time and I have like a block of free time, I might ch try to check a few messages on social media and it turns into like 30 minutes scrolling for no reason. So it just
Yeah,
being
easy
like
to
hyper
slip.
intentional about every block of time that I have, especially on a busy day.
I love that. And actually, this kind of like goes into our accountability portion too, is okay, so we know we want to get this stuff done, right? We got a schedule. How do we make it all happen? And Brenda, I'm going to pause real quick because I wanted to ask, I know Genesis actually put that she did an 8 in here, I believe, right? Genesis, Orantes, I love it. What worked for you this week as far as habits, routines, and then how do you do that accountability aspect? How do you make sure you actually get it done?
Um, do I like share what my
Yeah,
goal was?
yeah,
Um,
please.
mine's mine's was pretty simple. I just put to eat breakfast in the morning only because I wake up early and I like forget to like eat breakfast and then on the ride to school and in the morning I get really like nauseous, so I just wanted to do that. And so what I did was just like either plan like a meal or like simple breakfast before like getting out of like my house or just putting like fruit on the table or like on a like inside a bag so I could take it to school so I could eat it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of that visual routine. And actually, this is one of the things that Brenda was talking about as one of her routines, right? Is like get up, kind of get the head clear, right? Some meditation, and then eat something healthy to kind of get the day started. And we've kind of talked about this before as far as like getting enough sleep, right? Eating the right things so that you're actually ready for the day. Because if you're not rested up, you're not eating, you're not prepared. And I think kind of like Brenda said too, it's like she can be wrapped up all day with work. I think it's easy to skip meals or skip that water or not, not be adequately hydrated. All these things are important for the mind and body just to get started on the day before even working on that agenda also. So thank you for sharing that. Brenda, I'm going to pop back over on the accountability side. How do you make sure you do it? I mean, it sounds like you've been, first of all, congratulations on the meditation. It sounds like it's been almost every day for a year or every day for a year. Do you have an alarm to wake up, like a checkbox? Is it something like visual that you have on the wall? How do you make sure that you do what you want to do in the morning?
Yeah, I made it into a habit to wake up like 20 minutes before I'm supposed to start doing work and all that other stuff. So, or when my normal wake up time. So I just set my alarm for that time, like knowing the night before. And a lot of people say that your day actually starts the night before, not the morning of. So kind of like what Jay mentioned, it all starts the night before. So making sure I have enough sleep the night before. And right now, what really motivates me is just the feeling I get after I do it. So it just feels like basically um unacceptable if I don't do it. But before I do think gamifying it is really great. So there are some apps that will show you how many days you've done, like streaks. So I really like that.
Yeah.
And then that really helps with my reading goals because I was talking to Jay that I've been tracking my reading goals since 2014, and there's an app called Goodreads. It'll track every single book that you've read and what you thought about them and all of that. And I do think what you measure gets managed is the quote. So once I started being aware of what I've been reading, it made me more motivated to read. And I can see, oh, I've read 2 books so far this year, and my goal is 10 or whatever. And so I've been doing that since 2014. And because it's so ingrained now and I can see the progress, like it's very easy for me to read. Like right now, my goal is 30 books a year. So I've been
Damn,
hitting
and
that.
you've been tracking that for over 10 years now?
Yeah, and it's all online too. So I think that's really cool. You can look
Mhm.
back and see what you did in, a few years ago. And that I think that's the great part about technology too, because it's very motivating for me to see my num it's like a game, like seeing the numbers increase, seeing me closer to my goal and what I thought about, what books I've been reading. Because it's just a great tracker. So that's been motivating for me.
I love it. And we have the summer book club too. Need to be better about reading, but I had actually met Brenda probably around when she started doing this, I think just over a decade ago. And it's been crazy to see like her explosive growth and then kind of being able to hear now it's like, okay, what are the habits and routines that actually made that happen? Brenda, by the way, your team did how much in loans last year? Do you know off the top of your head?
We did 1.4 billion.
1.4 billion in loans. So she runs a big lending team and they lend to a bunch of real estate investors, lending them money when they're buying projects to like do a flip or, buy something longer term. And her team closed like over $1 billion in loans. And that doesn't happen without that organization, without those habits, without those routines, without the accountability to get there. So again, I just wanted to bring on someone who's super successful that I've seen grow and that can share the kind of background behind that and what made it happen, relevant, especially to our topic. So, Brenda, thank you again for joining us. We are going to go to and actually talk about accountability today also, which is a perfect tie-in. So thank you again. I appreciate you joining us and sharing your tips and tricks to get successful because I know all these people, all the students in the class want to go be super successful. A lot of you make a bunch of money and have a big impact on people. So thank you for everything you do. I appreciate it.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Brenda. If y'all can give her like a wave goodbye, thumbs up, little heart, appreciate
Good luck,
it. Thank you for
everyone.
coming, Brenda. I really appreciate it. And thank you, class. I'll be digging in a little bit more. I always want to hear what you all are working on too. But again, we were just talking about Brenda and I were talking about this, and I was like, I think it'd be great if she could come and share what's the tips and tricks that she uses. How many of you who have meditated before, or even just like relax and have some downtime in the morning? Not yet. Not many. Well, anyway, find out what works for you. If it's just a little bit of downtime, a little bit relaxing. I love the advice of don't just reach straight for the phone, which is what I used to do all the time. Now I do my exercise first, and it's kind of multiplied my productivity by staying focused on what I need to do, and get active on my to-do list also. Let's go ahead and pop up the presentation for today, please. And actually, I'm going to ask a few other people in here. Diana, Oriana, how did you do this last week? What habits and routines did you want to work on? And did you?
I think I said that I wanted to do my homework like right when I got home from school rather than like watching TV straight away.
How's it been going?
Honestly, I completely forgot. I haven't done it.
So you didn't set like a calendar reminder or anything else?
No, I actually didn't. Like I remember thinking during the class, I was like, "Oh, I should write this down so I can like remember about it." I completely forgot. But
It
now I've
happens.
been reminded and I guess now I'll be like writing it down to make sure I remember this time.
Well, it's perfect because we're talking about accountability this week. So this is one way to get accountable. You know what I do is like on my phone, I think there's some little, voice thing or whatever. Just tell the phone and I'm just like, set an alarm, every day this week for, 3 o'clock or this habit now thing that I downloaded. You can just set it for, every day. It's got a little checklist and even if I did like snooze it, it'll like keep popping up. And if I don't finish it, it'll actually move it to the next day, which is kind of nice because then I don't just like have it drop off. So anyway, whatever works for you, but I think like a little reminder, notification, whatever maybe is helpful. Mariana Alvarado, what about you? What were we working on? How'd it go?
What I was gonna work on was just like being more organized and like having my agenda written out for like each day and like what I was gonna do. And at first it did work out like during from Tuesday to like Friday. I did do it, but then during the weekend I stopped because I got like really sick and then I just like forgot. And so yeah, basically.
Okay, so you did it during the weekdays though, right? All right, that's a good start. It doesn't have to be perfect, like I didn't do mine every day this week either, But the important part is kind of like make some progress, see what's working. I changed and set myself a reminder to like set my agenda up before I have to check it off. Because I noticed it'd be like, hey, your agenda's due. And I'm like, oh, I haven't even worked on it yet. So I set a little reminder before that to make it like a little bit easier for me. How about who else we got in here? Elias, what'd you work on this last week and how'd it go?
This last week, just been working on like event planning, specifically for like my leadership class. I've been also working on SAT preparation. I have my SAT coming up tomorrow, so
Oh my gosh.
um, right now I'm just like taking practice tests as well, just making sure that I kind of like understand like the timing for the SAT. Um, but yeah, that's what I just been trying to like do.
Have you been doing good on it? Like daily hitting your numbers that you want to like the time you want to spend?
It's not daily, but my nerves are getting better each time, I think.
Okay, excellent. So making progress. All right, perfect. I just want to check in on everyone, see how it's going because I did not do perfect on it. But we're going to talk about some ways to be a little bit better as far as accountable to ourselves, to other people, and maybe have other people help us be accountable too. Um, let's go to the next slide. And actually, that's what we talked about last week. We already talked a bunch about it. So we'll skip to the next one, how important habits are. It's pretty crazy. Like I said, I met Brenda like 10 years ago. She was an investor just doing like a couple deals. Now she runs this team that closed like $1 billion in loans. By the way, usually they charge like at least 1% as like a fee to do the loan. So if you do the math, that's over like, what is that? Over $10 million. Billion? Yeah, over $10 million that her company made, like making loans. Pretty crazy. Just last year. Let's go to the next slide. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. The learning objectives for today. Not yet. Sorry. Go back to that real quick. I skipped over. Um, so one, being aware, self-awareness, right? And I think part of this is, not brushing it to the side, not ignoring something, but also that you're going to need to be personally accountable for your own results. You can't be like relying on someone else or making excuses. It's kind of like you're responsible for what you need to get done. So being accountable to yourself in that way. Being consistent, this kind of ties into the habit and routines. We'll talk a little bit about that. And when you are accountable and consistent, it basically helps build trust with other people because they see you. It's like, man, this guy does what he says. He's consistent, always doing what they say. And you're going to influence people positively around you. And other people are going to basically hold you higher on a higher pedestal. So you're going to have more opportunities and things like that. Let's go to the next slide, please. Okay, so accountability starts with self-awareness. Um, I would say there's a lot of different concepts in here. And I'm not sure the best place to start. I almost feel like almost at the bottom a little bit. Owning your story gives you power. Um, I think all of us come from a different background. We've had different experiences, maybe different opportunities also. Um, not focusing on it, not using it as an excuse, not denying it either, right? It's part of who we are. But owning that and being like, it doesn't really matter where it come from, right? We can do anything. We talk about big goals, small goals, all the steps on the way to get there. Um, and so just owning that is number one. A little bit about reflection. This kind of is accountability, and almost we talked about a little bit of like tracking, right? How do you actually look at how you're getting towards your goals? Are you tracking that? Are you reflecting on, is this actually my real priority when you're setting your agenda? Is this something that I actually really need to get done? Um, and responsibility over rescue or replacing rescue. Um, again, this is all about taking accountability for yourself, not looking for someone on the outside to make it happen, not saying, oh, well, if this person finishes that, then I'm going to be able to get my part done. You got to be responsible for yourself. And I think this is kind of what all of it boils down to is this ownership aspect, right? Both from the top to the bottom. You're responsible for all the results. So no excuses. You can make it happen. And again, we're building all these fundamental skills to make it happen and get there. Let's go to the next slide, please. So again, just reflecting on this, not relying on someone else, not waiting for someone else, not waiting for opportunity to fall in our lap. But think of one area of your life where you've been waiting for something or someone to change. What would it look like if you took full ownership of that outcome rather than waiting or relying on someone else? So let's go ahead and give you a minute or two to answer this question. So it could be like waiting for your class to get better or waiting for yourself to get homework done on time or get better grades. What actions are you going to take? What would that look like if you took full ownership? Go ahead and play this music and we'll give you a minute to answer the questions here. Okay. Curious if everyone can think of a good example here. Kimberly Jimenez, what'd you write down here?
I wrote down that one area I've been wanting to change is my motivation with my schoolwork. I want to turn in assignments earlier. So let's say I finish doing all my homework for the day. I can start on this or like upcoming homework assignments or next week homework assignments. That way I get ahead of the game. I also put that I would, instead of waiting until the end of class to ask questions, that I would ask during class, even though it's kind of awkward. I feel like if I don't ask, then no one else will. And maybe I can help others as well if they have the same question.
Yeah.
And I think overall, I just felt that I'm gonna start like focusing on my work, like again, like just working on taking away like entertainment or like distractions, just to help me like stay focused.
Okay. Well, and what is the motivation? You're talking about like staying motivated to, get this stuff done. What is the motivation? Why do you want to get the work done? You want good grades or why?
Good grades. I want my GPA to like boost. Yeah,
For
and just
what?
huh?
For what?
For college, like I want to have like a good what's it called? A good report for them.
Okay. Nice. I wasn't trying to question why you would want good grades. I was just curious, like, like people have like, usually that's like a goal that's building on another goal that's maybe building on another goal, right? So I think keeping that kind of end result in mind is also can be motivating too. So hopefully that helps. How do you feel like you've been doing on it? Pretty good?
I
Need a
think
little more motivation or what?
I could still use the work though for the entertainment wise because I still get distracted.
Okay. Well, it happens. All right. Set those reminders. I know I like how Brenda was said too, is like, build that schedule. It's like, okay, you're at school this time, only have so many hours outside. What are you going to allocate that precious time towards? And I think it can be challenging. I haven't been great at it, but I'm going to do better too. So thank you for sharing, Kimberly. Appreciate it. Let's go to the next slide, please. I wanted to leave some time. To be honest, I love having like guest speakers. I used to do it more often in prior years. I don't know if I really like did it great. So let us know in this survey with some feedback on like how I can do that better next time, maybe some way to do it a little bit more interactive with all of you while we're going through. But again, really, really successful. So I was stoked that Brenda got to jump in and share what a lot of us are dealing with, right? Is like how do we organize our day, get ready for the day, get enough sleep, get some food in the belly, and get organized on what the actual priorities are, right? So here, actions reflect responsibility. The biggest thing with this part is you gotta go do it, right? Thinking about it is great. Writing it down is great also, but you eventually have to do it. And how do you make sure that you do it, right? So we've talked about, scheduling it. We've talked about having notifications, alarms, a calendar maybe. And then how do you make sure those things actually got finished? Like, for example, I could put a bunch of stuff on my calendar, but then if the thing goes off and I just snooze it, how do I make sure that I actually get it done and take the action? And like I said, this Habit Now app, it's free. I think I paid $5 for like a full subscription or whatever one-time thing to get some extra stuff. But like I said, it even brings forward anything that you don't check off as done, even if it had a time on it, it brings it forward to the next day so it doesn't get missed. So these are just a couple ways that I'm bringing accountability to myself is making sure that it actually gets checked off and making sure that it gets done. So that's follow through, right? If you say you're going to do it, now you got to go do it. Make that commitment to yourself. Maybe even tell a friend, tell somebody else, hey, I'm going to do this. Ask me once a week if I did it, or ask me every time you see me at school if I've been doing XYZ that's on my list. It says small choices add up. I actually, this it takes me back to my jump roping thing. I said, okay, I'm going to do 100 jump ropes in the morning. And to be honest, I used to wake up at whatever time. It'd be all over the place depending on how late I stayed up. Now I have the alarm going off asking me if I did my jump ropes thing. So after I snooze it once or twice, I'm like, okay, I get up, do that. And since I'm up doing that, I also have these other alarms going off on my to-do list of things to do. So these small little things, just like getting up and jump roping for a couple minutes, actually got me more motivated to do this other stuff. And now that I got one habit kind of going, it's motivating me a little bit more to do another one. So just an example of kind of small things that are actually making a bigger impact for me to get stuff done now. What else do we got on here? No one will do the work for you. Um, this is a lot of these are just coming back to it's your personal responsibility, right? No excuses, not like, oh, they could do it. They should have done it. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. You need to do whatever it is that you need to get done to go towards your goals. There's this actually responsibility brings freedom. I don't know if you all have heard of Jocko Willings. I actually had met this guy once at a conference. But basically, if you stop waiting for other people's to like fix your problems, so to speak, it kind of helps people feel better because they kind of gain control. It's like actually I'm in control of the outcome. I'm in control of what's going to happen, not feeling like no control because everything is relying on everybody else. So this is also a way to kind of feel more comfortable and maybe a little bit more freedom personally. And last part on here is effort creates change. You got to go do it. And honestly, a lot of it's not going to be easy either. But you got to put in that hard work to really make it happen because that's the effort that's going to make it happen. The consistency, the habits, the routines, that agenda, that schedule, all these things are going to help build you toward that success and really make change. So let's go to the next slide, please. Your second workbook question. And we're going to talk a little bit about this in some breakout groups too. But write down one area of your life, and some of you have talked about this already. A lot of you haven't had the chance yet, at least for this class, is to write down one area of your life, whether it's school, home, activity, something, where you want better results. So I know some of you have talked about getting better grades. Some of you maybe getting out there more, talking to more people, meeting more people, maybe making some more money, getting another job or something. What is it that you want to do? And where do you want to see better results? And what specific action can you take this week to move yourself forward? So it's kind of like last week's habits and routines. But what do you want to do this week to move yourself forward? And without waiting for other people, without relying on other people, what can you do yourself? So let's go ahead and take a minute and a half or so to answer this question. And then we'll go into some breakout rooms and talk a little bit about it. Okay, okay. Hopefully this is enough time. Hopefully you all are spending this time to finish up your workbook questions. You get paid also. I'm going to ask a few folks what they wrote here. There's a couple people I can't even see you on here. Melly Rose, can you hear us okay? I can't see the video. I'm not sure if your chat's not working also. Oh, okay. Is your audio not working? What'd you write for this question here? Okay, sounds like audio is maybe not working. How about Katya? Can't see you on the screen also here.
Honestly, I didn't do the question. I am doing like other work.
What's that? You're working on something else?
Yeah, I'm doing like other work, and then I'm gonna do the work like towards the end.
Oh, okay. Um, well, why don't you just let us know? What do you think here? What's the area of life where you want to work on, maybe, or get some better results? What can you do this week?
Definitely catching up on all of my schoolwork and all my homework, catching up on missing tests that I need to do. That would
Okay.
be like my biggest area of improvement.
So what are you going to do to make sure that happens?
Just talking to my teachers for those makeup tests, and then working on my work and actually turning
Okay.
them in.
Okay, nice. All right, so you got a plan. That's important. And I think, part of it is like realizing what needs to be done, right? Then making a plan and then go executing on it, right? Make sure it happens. Millie Rose popped into the chat. Whenever of my life wanted better results since pre-calc, been struggling in that area as an action. Take it is to go to tutoring and ask for help whenever I need it. Okay, I like that. Do you know when the tutoring is? The other thing I like to do with stuff like that is like, oh, is either get it in the calendar or at least write down when it is so I know when I can go. But the more you have it planned, the better the results are likely to be. Wendy, what about you? What'd you write down for this one? What is it that you want to work on and what are you going to do to make it happen?
I put one area of my life where I want better results is school, especially staying on top of my assignments because this week I need to take responsibility by catching up on all my work since I was absent on Friday.
Oh, what were you doing on Friday? Were you sick or you just like went to go kick it somewhere?
Yeah, I was kind of sick.
Okay. Well, I hope you're feeling better. Okay, perfect. Well, we are going to do a little breakout room. I think, part of it, we can talk a little bit about that, but I'm not sure how much time it'll also like fill up. So I'd like you all to also to kind of talk about the habits and routines. What did you do this last week? What worked? What didn't? So you can start with this question and then kind of move into that, having some extra time. I think we have a whole bunch of student leaders and alumni. I'm going to let you champions work this out, but what I would like, I think, is 4 people per group. And I think some of the student leaders and alumni will be doubled up. So I'll just let you all decide, but I would like one person to kind of take control of the group there, bounce the questions around. So we'll talk about 2 different things. This question right here, and also what habits and routines are you working on to kind of like make that happen too? What did you work on this last week? How did it go? How are you going to change for the future? So if that's ready, we're going to pop in for, actually, we're going to do it for 4 minutes instead. 5 minutes. We'll stick with 5 minutes. And whenever you champions staff is ready, we can go ahead and pop into the breakout rooms, talk about these for a little bit, and we'll wrap up the rest of the lesson on accountability. How are we doing there, Chris? I know I kind of popped this on you. I didn't realize we got so many alumni and student leaders. Fantastic. All right, I'll see you all in there. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. Um, I know one group, like maybe that was a little bit too long. Everyone had kind of talked about things. I don't know if that happened in any of the other groups. To be honest, I feel kind of off today. Like maybe my timing's just like not quite right on stuff. But I'm curious. I was in with one group and we were talking about like everyone's kind of areas that they were working on were a little bit different, and the solutions were a little bit different for everyone too. I'm kind of curious if that was the same in other groups or if there's some similarities. Not that there needs to be. But Diana Gomez, what did you hear in your group?
I heard a lot of people were trying to catch up on work or studying or improving in a certain class. So they were dedicating time to that, setting time aside or waking up earlier or having notes of like asking the teachers questions or going to tutoring.
Okay, so drilling on all that homework stuff, catching up on work, tutoring, doing it maybe I heard some people say right when I get home from school, or right before I go to bed, or leaving it out on a desk so that I can see it and I know I need to get it done, or leaving it on the bed. Um, so again, whatever works, but knowing that we're in charge of it, right? It's not because the teacher's not good enough, it's not because of this or that excuse, holding ourselves and kind of taking that ownership and responsibility. So thank you, Diana. I appreciate it. I hear from one other person too. Jenny, what'd you hear in your group?
Well, from my group, it was mostly about school specifically. Um, I was with one other student leader, so she was talking about, I think, like working on ways to study.
And like what was the ways that we're going to work, or what was the action that's going to be taken on it?
I think she said she wanted oh my gosh, I'm trying to. I think she said she wanted to like write stuff down so that she remembers the homeworks and then write side notes on like the stuff she doesn't understand from the class.
Okay, perfect. So writing it down and like taking notes to make sure you can follow up on it. I like that. And I think, one of the things I actually messed up the other day because I was like, oh, I need to bring these like carpets here or rugs to my place. I'm like, I was like, I should write this down. And then I didn't. Of course, I forgot them. But I think one of the biggest things, right, is writing it down. And then if you can schedule it, right, is one of the things you just keep hearing, right? Reminders, all those things make sure that it happens and helps ourselves hold each other accountable, and especially for ourselves. Let's go to the next slide, please. I think we got a little bit more, one workbook question, and then a few announcements at the end here. I know I kind of changed the order of the breakout group too. I'm not sure if that worked well, but here we are. And this is kind of building on what we talked about in the last slide also, accountability, building trust, and leadership, right? When people see you being consistent, doing the right thing, having the right habits, growing that success, that trust is basically like it comes without having to go try to earn it because you're already doing the things that leaders do. And that's what we're all about at Youth Champions, right? A lot of you are student leaders taking that initiative to be the one to ask questions, to be the one to call on others, to be the one to take that first step, and owning outcomes, right? So not making excuses, but whatever happened. And I actually had seen this video the other day that someone was talking about, and it's like, hey, you should be proud of your wins, but you also need to take accountability for what didn't go right, for those losses or for those lessons learned or whatever it may be. Those kind of go hand in hand. Again, it inspires other people. Uh, Feedback. This is hard for some people. I think we talked about it early in the semester. Sometimes it's hard to get feedback. A few of you said, oh, it's hard to get an assignment back. And it's like, oh, you did okay, but here's all the things you need to fix. Or taking criticism or constructive criticism from someone. But most people only do that because they want you to improve, because they care. And whether they care or not, it's going to help you be better. So try to be open, keep an open mind to feedback, to criticism or constructive criticism. And last on here is the initiative. One of you was talking about, hey, I need to be more motivated about class. Unfortunately, it's hard for other people to make that happen for you, right? But think about internally, what is it that motivates me? Is it that job in the future? Is it the big house, being able to take care of my family? Whatever it may be, think of that future and kind of the reward at the end to help you push through those difficult times and make it happen. It's all about taking action, taking that initiative, and being accountable for the results. Let's go to the next slide, please. I believe our last workbook question here. So, who in your life demonstrates personal accountability or leadership? No excuses. They do what they say what they do. So, what specific actions do they take that you could start modeling this week? Maybe what's something about them that you could be better at? Go ahead and take a minute to answer this question, please. Let's see. Who have I not called on yet today? Mariana Alvarado. How's it going? I didn't call on you yet, right? All right. Who would you say? Would you write for this one? Is there someone that you know that's just like, man, they always get it done or always do what they say kind of thing, and maybe don't make excuses about stuff?
Um, Honestly, I feel like one of my close friends, she's a senior, and I feel like she's very determined and like she always gets things done. Like when she sets her mind to one thing, she gets it done, like no excuses asked. And yeah, and I
What do
think
you think it is? If you don't mind me asking, what do you think it is about her attitude or her organization or like do you know what it is that helps her be like that or get it done? She's super motivated or what?
yeah, I just think she's just like super motivated. It's just like one of those type of people, like once they set their mind onto something, it's like they have to get that done in order to be able to do something else. And I think something that really helps her is like she always like very organized. So she always has like everything planned out step by step. And I think that's like very helpful.
Absolutely. I think honestly, like the more we talk about it, and I talk to other people who are like successful, it's always like scheduling stuff, getting it on the calendar, prioritizing. So I feel like that's just like a recurring theme here. Thank you for sharing, Mariana. I appreciate it. Let's go to our third to last slide, I guess, is taking. Oh, what does being a champion mean to you? Oh my gosh, I forgot about this one. Um, Part of it is all these things we learn in class, right? Is so that you can, and actually, like Brenda said, is like I'm glad you're doing this so early because a lot of us adults did not learn this stuff until way later in life, right? So you're taking that initiative early on to make it happen, and kind of sets a higher bar everything you can do and all the people you can influence. So I'll kick it out here. Caitlin, what does being a champion mean to you? Or a youth champion?
Being a youth champion to me means just taking in all the info and applying it to your life and just trying your best to make your future as best as you can for yourself, opening up new possibilities and opportunities for you.
Love that. Thank you for sharing, Caitlin. Appreciate it. What about you, Camilla? Haven't heard from you yet today. What does like being a youth champion mean to you?
So to me, being a youth champion is like basically always taking every opportunity you can and like cause like through these Zoom calls and like sometimes there's like field trips, I feel like we learn a lot and these opportunities could be used to gain more information to be used in our real life and like they're learning that opportunities that taking these opportunities are very valuable.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only a lot presented, but you learn that you got to go take advantage of them, right? You got to go take that action too. Thank you, Camilla. Appreciate it. Let's go to our second to the last slide today, which is actually just a last minute or two to wrap up your workbook. So for those of you who have not finished your workbook yet, go ahead and take the survey, please. Like I said, whatever worked, didn't work. I like to have guest speakers. I'm not sure what a better format would maybe be. If it worked, didn't work, let us know. But I think it's great to learn from other people. And I'll go ahead and give a minute or so for you all to wrap up. We'll have a couple announcements at the end. Next class, we're going to be talking about business communication. So we'll talk about it more next week. Let's go ahead and do that survey time, and we'll do a couple last announcements. Okay, last but not least are some announcements coming up. Finish your workbook survey by Friday at 5 or you don't get any points. For those of you who went to the survey, or to the survey, fill out the survey for the field trip if you went to the field trip. Also another way to get points. Another way to get points, this Ignite Speaker Series coming up. It's April 6th. Again, it's on Zoom, so you don't have to show up in person. You can do it from wherever, get some extra points, learn something new. These are always interesting folks. The next field trip is going to be a networking event. It's coming up on April 12th, RSVP by April 3rd at 5. All the links are getting dropped down in here, but they're also in your little student portal website thing. And also, if you would like to come back next year, level 2, go dive deeper into a lot of these topics and hold each other accountable and get closer to your goals, there's an interest form. You can sign up to do this next year. And again, it's not the exact same stuff. It's diving deeper into some similar topics. So if you like it, sign up to do it again next year. Thank you all for your participation today. I appreciate it. It is 5 p.m. So go take action on these things that you want to change, and we'll all hold each other accountable again next week and see how we did. I'm going to do better on my habits and routines too. I will see you all next week. Vaya con Dios. Do you have any questions?